We're joined now by Hogan Gidley, a CBSN political contributor and former communications director for Mike Huckabee. Hogan, always good to see you.
Great to see you. Thanks,
All right, what's your reaction to this news of Corey Lewandowski's firing? I got to hear from you.
Well, first, I just want to say, let's talk about Corey for a moment. We've heard the reports. Chip put together a nice piece to kind of show some of the inner turmoil that was dogging the Trump campaign. But so often in our game, when people in my position, when people like Corey Lewandowski leave a campaign, they leave and they go on every show and they slash and burn the candidate. They slash and burn the operation. They leave and say horrible things about everybody from the candidate to the family members. Think about how refreshing this is for Corey Lewandowski to leave and then turn around and say, not only am I going to work for Trump, volunteer for Trump in some way from New Hampshire, I'll do whatever it takes to get this guy elected. His family's wonderful. The staff is wonderful. I love everybody over there. What a departure from what we typically see in politics, the nastiness and the rancor when someone leaves a campaign. I was really impressed by so much of that.
Are you surprised? Because, I mean, clearly if you want a job with the administration, if Trump is elected president, you wouldn't bash him.
Yeah, but if you've been fired, what are the chances you actually get a job with the administration? I mean, look, Corey was in a tough spot, okay? He got to be the campaign manager early on when Donald Trump decided to take on this endeavor. Not many people in the media, including myself, thought he had a chance. And with every misstep, with every misspoken word, we thought this guy's going to implode sooner or later. He did not. He only gained strength. And one thing we learned on the Mike Huckabee campaign in 2008 is you can't build a rocket ship mid-flight. You have to be prepared on the launch pad. And no one was really prepared in Donald Trump's world to build that rocket ship early on. It took off, and they were all looking around in midair going, how do we get together the thrusters? How do we get together the boosters? How do we get this thing going in the right direction? And it was very difficult for any campaign to do that. Corey, in this particular instance, performed admirably, did really well to win the nomination through all of these states. But now we're talking about a completely different ball game. Now we're talking about the general election. So the 14 million votes that Trump was able to secure largely by himself with no campaign apparatus really to speak of compared to other candidates, he did it all on his own. Now that he's done it, now we're in a general election where he has to pull around 60 million votes. He's got to get so many more votes, change his message, so to speak, to try and get people on board, be a different kind of candidate. And from what I understand, there were two basic warring factions within the Trump campaign. One was Corey Lewandowski, and Chip just reported. His comment typically was, let Trump be Trump. And I think some of the others in the campaign, the Manafort wing, were basically saying, let's tone him down and make him more establishment. What they need to do, in my humble opinion, and I'm not necessarily one to give advice here, but what I think they should do is take the goodness of Trump, which is his bombast, and tie it into some more targeted attacks on Hillary Clinton. Don't worry about judges. Don't worry about systems. Focus on your opponent now. Take her back almost with a surgical-like manner, point by point, piece by piece. Use her own words against her, and he'll be in great shape.
So, Hogan,
and one thing about a campaign.
Go ahead.
Let me finish just one point, DeMarco. Really, two finite commodities in a campaign. One's money, which Trump doesn't have really to this point, and the second is time. He lost about 5 weeks after he became the nominee in Indiana until Hillary Clinton secured the nomination as well. Those 5 weeks, he could have been raising money, going to every one of those swing states and starting that barrage of attacks on Hillary. He wasted a little time there. I think this move by his campaign is a good one because it shows he saw some dipping poll numbers. He saw some struggles. He's the manager now, remember. That's kind of how he portrays himself. He's the leader. So if he saw that and made the change, I think a lot of folks are going to be happy about that.
So, Hogan, tell me this. Clearly, Lewandowski helped Trump get to where he is now. Does it mean he's a liability or was a liability?
I don't think he's a liability, but I mean, look, campaigns go through all types of growing pains. And as I said, that rocket was already in flight. It's tough to start to build something that wasn't already in place. And from what I understand, the reporting I've seen on CBS is that the folks that Manafort wanted to hire, Corey Lewandowski didn't want to hire, or they butted heads about bringing in new people. I completely understand about keeping a tight, close-knit campaign on the folks that make those decisions.
But Hogan,
I was
tell me this,
nimble in the Rick Santorum campaign with just a few folks.
Let me ask you this question. How much control did Lewandowski have over what Trump said, what he did? Trump seems to be his own man.
I have no Yeah, I have no idea, and that's the thing. See, I'm not sure, because the two warring factions were some people telling him to tone it down, and then Corey Lewandowski saying, he's the candidate, he's the top of the ticket, let him run the deal. The problem with that is there is a messaging issue here, okay? You have to appeal to so many more people, and what won you the primary isn't going to win you the general. And I often liken it to the football fans out there. Let's talk about Johnny Manziel for a minute. Amazing talent at Texas A&M, scrambled around the backfield, ran around all the time, created plays out of nothing. That worked in college. When he gets to the pros, he can't back talk his coach. He can't just run around all the time, because linebackers run faster than he does. Linemen run faster than he does. He doesn't know how to make all the throws. He can't read defenses. He could use his scrambling ability to undergird all the things he should know on an NFL field. He just didn't know the basics of the NFL quarterback. That's the problem. It's a completely different playing field. So my point was, you've got to combine the good Trump with what got everyone excited about his campaign, who he was, the bombast, the tell it like it is, the politically incorrect messaging he used to give. But you've got to focus it more on Hillary Clinton and not these side issues that nobody cares about. And if it were me, I'd basically focus on three things, if I can remember.
We may not be able to get to those three things, because we got one final question. We're running out of time. Here's what Trump told Bill O'Reilly about Lewandowski. Quote, he did a great job, but we are going to go a little bit of a different route from this point forward, a little different style. What do you make of those comments?
I think that's exactly what I was talking about before. I think Trump knows, he sees the writing on the wall. I think his kids have been watching cable news. I think they've been seeing internal poll numbers. And now, with no turnout operation nationally, Hillary Clinton spending $28 million in early swing states. Donald Trump isn't spending $1 in the month of June. It shows you they are woefully behind in running a national campaign. And what got him press in the primary was his name, Donald Trump. It's not going to get him sole alone press time, because Hillary is now the nominee. Anytime they cover Trump, they're going to cover Hillary. So to me, what it means is he's going to change a little bit, focus more on policy, focus more on specifics, but you can't de-Trump Trump, or it'll completely squash the excitement and the fervor that exists for Donald Trump, but that does not exist for Hillary Clinton.
All right, got to leave it there. Hogan, always a pleasure speaking with you. I could talk to you all night. Thanks for joining us again, Hogan Gidley.
Thanks, man. God bless.
All right.